Ghost in the Shell is directed by Mamoru Oshii, written by Kazunori Ito, and based on a manga by Masamu Nishiro, and this takes place in the future, in 2029. And there is a police force that works with cybernetics and humans. In this future, you can transfer your consciousness, called Ghost, into a cybernetic body, which is called the Shell, which means that as long as your ghost is alive, as long as your ghost is present, no matter what body you find yourself in, it's still considered you. So if I was to transfer myself into Scarlet Johansson's body, not only would I have a lot of fun, but I would still be myself, and we just detoured a little bit. You can also, if you choose to do so, transfer your ghost into the net, which is basically the internet, but much more expanded, even more than today's internet. So take a look at this movie being released in 1995. And there's this hacker called the Puppet Master who's hacking into several places of the net, and he doesn't have an exact body, and so Section 9 goes after him through Major and her partner Bateau. Ghost in the Shell is a special movie for me. I can't say I grew up with it exactly, but I know I watched it very young, around the time I was 8 or maybe 9 or something like that. From the time I watched this film as a little kid, I can't say I remember much of what I thought at that time or what I took from it at that time, but I do remember that this was the first film, or series for that matter, that I watched with the conscience that this was anime, and that this was what anime is, the style of animation, what really differentiated anime from any other animated show that I watched at the time, or movie. Ghost in the Shell is an incredible piece of filmmaking, not only for animation. Every shot in this film is enthralling. It immediately captures you and puts you into this world that is so meticulously well designed. Every visual in this film is not only beautiful to look at, but it tells a story onto itself. It gives you world building, it gives you character building, because you're seeing this all through the eyes of the Major. And of course, this film inspired many other famous films and TV shows with its concepts and ideas, most notably The Matrix. You can see it for the credits alone. Not only that, but the action scenes in this film are absolutely vibrating. I cannot sell this enough. The action scenes in this film are spectacular. As far as action scenes are concerned, this is maybe still in my top 5 best action scenes in animation to this day. Mamoru Oshii knew very well to capture action, but not only action because it looks cool, action that tells a story, action that has stakes to it, action that without dialogue in it furthers so much of the plot. It thickens so much of what our characters are going through, of what is on the line for this story and the characters involved in it. The music as well is incredible. I love this type of orchestral type of music and themes, and this world is beautifully captured just by shots that you see of the city in this film and music playing on the background. As I said, this movie presents a lot of interesting ideas and concepts, but they are not only interesting, they are relevant, they are important, and they are frightening. I watched this movie again today for this review, and there are some things in this film that, when you think about them, are really freaking scary. So again, put yourself in the place that this film came out in 1995. The way this movie presents cybernetics and the androids and cyborgs in this film and humans, and how you can transfer your consciousness from body to body but still be considered you. A lot of people praise this movie for expanding the line between being a human and being a cyborg. I praise this movie for thinning that line. What really makes us human? Because our characters themselves don't know that. And that's one of the best aspects of this movie. This movie knows not to answer some of the most important questions as far as themes go. The Major itself is incredibly layered and interesting. As I said, you see many of the shots, if not all of the shots in this film, through her eyes. And she is enthralled and amazed at this city when she goes on missions. There are a lot of times where you just see her looking on and observing the people, the world, what they are doing, what they are saying, what is happening around them in that store, in that alley, in that little street. What are those people driving that car saying and or thinking? She's a very frontal type of person, let's call her. She likes to go into the action, but this is not just because she's good at what she does. She's curious. She wants to analyze human beings. She wants to analyze cybernetics. She wants to analyze and find out the difference, not only of them and what separates them, but she wants to find out for herself what makes her human or not. There's a beautiful scene and conversation where she goes swimming and she talks to her partner, Bato. And they talk about what she feels when she goes swimming. Why does she go swimming? And she says basically that she feels. She feels, and that's why she goes swimming. Because it is in these moments when she goes swimming that she finds herself more connected to the world and to herself, and not in a cybernetic type of way. She finds herself more alive. She feels fear. She feels like she is in darkness. But at the same time, as she is resurfacing, she feels hope. And that is a feeling that she cannot describe. The very way the dialogue is written in that scene, she goes about what she feels as she is swimming for a little long time. And when she talks about how she is resurfacing, she just says, hope. And that's it. Because not even she understands what hope really is. And to reinforce this idea of analyzing cybernetics and humans and what differentiates them, she even asks directly to have a human partner, and that is Togasa, who is a very interesting character on his own, but he fleshes more out in the animated series and in the sequels. In this film, he serves only to be a plot device, and not only that, to the Major herself. And it works incredibly well. Let's talk about the villain of this film, the Puppet Master. He was born on the net. He was born on the ocean of information that doesn't really have a corporeal form. However, he considers himself human. And there's a fantastic scene at the end of the film where the Major just asks him, why don't you just copy yourself? And he tells her, because a copy is just a copy. A copy doesn't give me any individuality, doesn't make me who I am, it just becomes another version of me. And that's not reproducing, that's not having children. And these are some of the most insightful yet scary parts of the film. Ghost in the Shell presents a lot of things that to this day are relevant. Ghost in the Shell gives us some things to think about that we don't even give a second thought on a day-to-day basis. And counteracting to the Major's perception of the world and herself and others, there is Bato, who clearly sees himself at least as more of a human than the Major sees herself. He's ashamed of looking at her when she undresses because she clearly doesn't care for her corporeal form. She doesn't see herself as a human, but she wants to. In the meanwhile, Bato clearly sees himself as a man. He identifies with his corporeal form. I know I have given away some spoilers, but I don't want to spoil the very end of this movie. What happens after the confrontation with the Puppet Master? The very ending of this movie is fucking scary. I am afraid of the ending of this film so much. I'm not spoiling it because I know that unfortunately a lot of people have not seen this film, but I beg of you, there are still a couple of days before Ghost in the Shell hits the screens, so please watch the original one. It works as an insightful piece of filmmaking. It is thought-provoking, it is relevant 22 years later, but it also works as a great popcorn film. If you have seen it a bunch of times, you can still pop it on Netflix or something and just work, and meanwhile glance at it a couple of times. It looks beautiful, and it is layered with thought-provoking themes, ideas, and concepts that in 20 years, I bet they will still be relevant. Ghost in the Shell, to this day, works tremendously well to a degree that I did not expect before watching it today. Ghost in the Shell is the stuff that dreams are made of. What did you think of Ghost in the Shell, my beautiful geekies? Do you have a special type of connection with this film, as do I? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what are your expectations for the new Ghost in the Shell, and let's hope it's just as good. It just needs to stand on its own. Doesn't need to be as good as this one, because let's face it, it will not be. If you are new to this channel, click in the link below and join the beautiful Geeky Community Facebook group and meet many other geekies. Also, don't forget to stalk me on the internet through Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and all those links are also in the description. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are the freaking best. I love you all. Stay beautiful, stay geeky, and if you haven't done so yet, click the bell and the subscribe button so we can be geeky united!